Hey everybody, HomeSliceHenry here, and in today's video we're going to be checking out some extremely fun battles in the Ultra League Premier Cup featuring my XL level 50 Seviper. Seviper is a pure poison type Pokemon with the moveset of Poison Jab, Poison Fang, and Crunch, and at level 50 it gets the 2380 CP. I paired it up with a Swampert on the lead and a Nidoqueen save switch and went on a pretty nice win streak. So without further ado, let's hop into the matches and check out XL Seviper in action in the Ultra League Premier Cup. Hopping to the first match, picking up a Nightmare lead Swampert into Trevenant. I do have two responses in the back, so I will immediately save switch into Nidoqueen, and my opponent responds with a Galarian Stunfisk. This is a terrible matchup, but Earth Power will hit for super effective. I fire off the Earth Power, my opponent commits the shield, and honestly that is fantastic news for me. They're going to overfarm, but I am not worried about this whatsoever, because if I have shield advantage Seviper can honestly put in a lot of work, especially now that their Stunfisk is out of the way. They're going to fire off the Earthquake, that is perfectly fine by me. I'm going to let that through. I will overfarm with my Swampert, and then go for an Earthquake of my own. This is going to be KOing the Stunfisk, and now I have shield advantage Seviper. In comes Trevenant. Trevenant is going to be met with the Seviper. Trevenant does have a lot of energy here, and I am going to start shielding. XL Seviper is extremely glassy. They bait with a Seed Bomb, and I'm going straight for the Crunch. This will do big damage if it lands, which it does. In the back, they have Charm, Alolan Ninetales, and Seviper is about to go off. Firing off a Poison Fang. Poison Fang is gonna land. Alolan Ninetales is gonna reach a move, but Seviper, smelling blood in the water, is going to commit the shield. Seviper gets the farm down. Trevenant has a move loaded, but they lose CMP to Seviper. Seviper is gonna get the final shield, and Trevenant is low enough where this is Mudshot downrange for Swampert. Seed Bomb is gonna KO Seviper. Swampert Mudshots down the Trevenant, and that is a good game. Decent lead in the next match, Swampert into Dragalge. I will stay in this lead to start, but I will eventually need to save switch out into the Nidoqueen to check and see if my opponent has a strong counter to a poison type in the back. I'm going to farm up a bunch of energy and bait with the Hydro Cannon. Hydro Cannon does get the shield. I'm going to bank an Earthquake and then save switch into Nidoqueen on the charge move. I tank whatever they throw here. They go for the Aqua Tail, and then they're going to send in Shadow Drapion. Very happy to bait out the Drapion, because the Viper does not do well against it. No baits here, going straight for the Earth Power. Earth Power connects, getting the Drapion low. Drapion is going to reach a last second Crunch. Crunch is not going to be lethal though. It's going to land and unfortunately lower my defense as well, but I am able to win switch. The downside is with that defense drop, Dragalge is going to be able to farm me down before I reach an Earth Power. I'm only able to reach a Poison Fang, and the Dragalge, since they're counting, is not going to commit the shield. I do have energy on Swampert. I bring in the Swampert, and they're going to fire off a move. I will respect it. It's just the Aqua Tail, and this can only be an Aqua Tail as well, so I am going to be letting that through. Aqua Tail not going to be doing a ton of damage, and I am going straight for it. Full sending the Earthquake here. Earthquake takes out Dragalge. In the back, they have Alolan Ninetales. And as you can see, the opponent has recognized that it's over. Seviper going straight for the Poison Fang. Seviper is gonna farm all the way down and secure the win. Hopping into the next match, picking up a pretty nice lead, Swampert into Toxicroak. As with the Dragalge lead in the earlier match, I'm going to stay in here to start, try and grab shield advantage, and then save switch into Nidoqueen to check and see if they have a good response to a poison type. They're going to fire off a Mud Bomb. Mud Bomb doesn't do a lot of damage in this matchup, and I am going to bait with the Hydro Cannon. Earthquake would easily be lethal. Hydro Cannon bait gets the shield. I'm going to save switch into Nidoqueen. My opponent is going to fire off a Mud Bomb, and I will immediately shield since I do have switch advantage. I now have a nice energy lead, and my opponent is going to send in Wall Rain. I'm going to fire off the Poison Fang bait here. Poison Fang, not going to do a lot of damage, but I will get that ever important defense drop, and I'm able to win CMP on the Earth Power. This Earth Power will be getting them incredibly low, as I'm nearly able to take them out. This Icicle Spear is not enough to KO. They have to Earthquake here. They only go for the Icicle Spear, and because of that, they're going to be forced to throw another charge move. That is massive for me, as I can farm down with the Swampert, and leave with energy to threaten the Toxicroak. My opponent is going to send in the Toxicroak, and I'm going to go straight for the Hydro Cannon here. Hydro Cannon is going to get the Toxicroak low. Toxicroak trying to get to a move. Swampert gets the Mud Shot down. In the back, they have Drapion. Unfortunately, not able to make it to the Earthquake. I'm going to fire off the Hydro Cannon. Hydro Cannon is able to land, and that is game over. Seviper can just go straight Poison Fang in this matchup and take down the Drapion. They go for the Crunch. That's perfectly fine. I'm going straight for the Poison Fang. Poison Fang goes unshielded. At this point, the game is over, and the opponent concedes the match. The win streak continues as we move into the next match. Swampert into Talonflame. Pretty nice lead. I'm just going to stay in this matchup. My opponent goes for a Hydro Cannon catch onto Blastoise, but I'm able to hold on to my energy and fire off the Earthquake. Earthquake is able to land, and now I can send in Seviper. XL Seviper, as we've mentioned, is very glassy, but can now put a nice amount of damage in this matchup. So I am going to shield the Hydro Cannon. This Hydro Cannon would get me low. I'm going to continue to farm up here. I accidentally overfarm one too much, and I play into a CMP tie. This is unfortunate because even though I do have 2 moves, I'm not going to be able to fire off my second move as they've triggered CMP, so I'm forced to burn my final shield and farm down. Now, Talonflame does have 2 Incinerates of energy, meaning they only need 1 more to get to the Flame Charge. I'm expecting them to throw the Flame Charge right away, so I'm going to fire off these Poison Fangs back to back. I go for the second, but they actually go for the extra Incinerate. A very nice play by my opponent. Now they're going to throw when they reach 100, so I'm going to switch into Swampert and catch the Flame Charge. No point in them throwing a Brave Bird at a Seviper that was that low of health, and in the back, they have their own Swampert. I'm going to fire off the Hydro Cannon. This Hydro Cannon gets a shield from the opponent. I'm going to continue to farm up. My opponent is at 8 Mud Shots, so they're very close to the back-to-back. This Hydro is not going to KO. I farm up 1 more, and I'm able to force CMP. That is incredibly good for me, as now my opponent is not going to be able to farm down, and this sets me up for success, as Nidoqueen does not get KO'd by 1 Hydro Cannon. So I'm going to farm up here. I'm expecting them to throw when I reach the Earth Power, so I switch and catch onto Seviper. Let's go. They only went for the Hydro Cannon, but that catch is very helpful for me. Back in comes Talonflame. They're close to a move, so I'm going to fire off the Poison Fang to KO. My opponent needs to make it to an Earthquake to win, and they're not going to be able to get there. Nidoqueen, Earth Power, taking out the Swampert, and that is a good game. Nightmare lead in the next match, Swampert into Shadow Dragonite. I will need to immediately switch out of here. I'm going to send in Nidoqueen, and my opponent responds with a Toxicroak. But this is honestly a pretty nice spot for me here, because in the Ultra League, a Mud Bomb does not really threaten Nidoqueen. Mud Bomb lands, that's perfectly fine, and I'm going to bait with a Poison Fang. Poison Fang, really hoping it gets the shield, and it does, and now I can outpace the Toxicroak and reach my second charge move before they reach theirs. Are they willing to give up both shields to keep switch advantage? Yes, they are. They try and go for the farm down, but Nidoqueen is just too tanky, able to reach another Poison Fang. So now Toxicroak has used 2 shields, and they're double debuffed. So this is a perfect farm down opportunity for Swampert. I may not have switched, but I can get a ton of energy in this situation. They land the Mud Bomb. My opponent doesn't want the farm to happen, so they give up switch as they're going to bring back in the Shadow Dragonite, and I can respond with Seviper. Seviper fires off the Poison Fang. After this Poison Fang, I'm going to be able to farm down with Seviper and should be able to debuff whatever my opponent has in the back. Seviper farming, gets the farm down. That is quite nice. In the back, they have Galarian Stunfisk. I'm hoping that I should be able to reach multiple moves versus the Stunfisk, especially if they try and go for the farm down, and it looks like that's exactly what they're going to do, because I should be close to a move on Swampert. So I'm going to fire off the Crunch. Crunch puts it into Hydro range, switch into the Swampert, and wins CMP over the Stunfisk. Let's go. Stunfisk loses all their energy. In comes the Toxicroak, and unfortunately, Toxicroak is not going to be able to reach enough moves to win this game. I will commit the shield in case for some reason they're running Dynamic Punch, but they are not. It's just a Mud Bomb. Swampert gets the farm down and secures the win. Now that we've seen some highlights from the win streak, I will show the game where the win streak came to an end. Picking up a bit of a tough lead, Swampert into Slurpuff. I'm going to farm up some energy, switch, and then catch onto Nidoqueen. This way I save energy on Swampert, and their Play Rough is not going to be doing a lot into my Nidoqueen. But unfortunately, my opponent is running an XL Skarmory in the back, which absolutely walls Nidoqueen. This is incredibly bad, and these Poison Fangs just do absolutely nothing in terms of damage, although I do get some very important defense drops. I fire off the second Poison Fang, Skarmory not shielding a thing in this matchup, and I'm just going to let the Nidoqueen get taken out. My opponent goes for an undercharge of the Sky attack, looking to get the farm down. I'm going to fire off the Earth Power. They're double debuffed, so this Earth Power is going to hurt. And then I'm going to switch back into Swampert and fire off the Hydro Cannon, applying a lot of pressure onto this Skarmory. Hydro Cannon gets the shield. My opponent is going to fire off a charge move. Perfectly fine by me. They full send the Brave Bird, and they're going to send in Slurpuff. But I should be able to reach double Hydro before they reach a move, and double Hydro should be lethal here. First Hydro Cannon gets them low. I'm going to fire off the second Hydro Cannon right before they're able to reach their next charge move. Hydro Cannon is going to get them low, but it's actually not enough to KO. Slurpuff surviving on very low HP, and unfortunately I'm forced to burn my final shield. In the back, they have their own Swampert, and they are running the Shadow. At this point in the match, I think I need to make a catch to win, so I'm going to farm up to my Hydro, switch, but my opponent has great patience, and they hold on to their energy. I'm running back in my Swampert, and I do win CMP over theirs. Hydro Cannon is going to get them low, and with no shields, unfortunately, I basically have to rely on Seviper now. Hydro Cannon is going to get me low. They send in Skarmory to farm down, and suddenly I see a win con. If Seviper can farm down and leave with a crunch, I can win this game. Skarmory goes for the Brave Bird. Seviper barely able to hang on. Seviper dies with the move as we lose a heartbreaking game. Picking up a very tough lead in the next match, Swampert into Trevenant, immediate switch into Nidoqueen, and my opponent responds with Walrein. So far counted on the lead in the swap, things not looking great for me. I'm going to farm up to the Earth Power and then go for the Poison Fang. I do want to get that ever important defense drop. Poison Fang, not going to be doing a lot of damage. Walrein is able to tank it. I'm going to farm up and fire off the Poison Fang on the CMP tide to the next Icicle Spear. Poison Fang number 2 actually gets a shield, and that is really, really nice for me because shield advantage Seviper can put in a lot of work. My opponent makes a very nice play. They are going to undercharge and get farm. I'm going to bring in Swampert, and my goal now is to massively overfarm in this matchup because I want some energy on my Swampert here. Icicle Spear, not going to be doing a lot. They're going to reach a second Icicle Spear, and that's fine by me. I am going to let that go. No problem whatsoever. So I'm going to let that go. I'm going to build up a ton of energy and then go for the Hydro Cannon. I believe I am going to undercharge it and then go for a snipe with Seviper. It still kills. In the back, they have Galarian Stunfisk, and I concede the match. Tough lead in the final match, Swampert into Kommo-o. I will save switch into my Nidoqueen. They're staying in, so I'm going to go for the Poison Fang right away. And unfortunately, it looks like switch may have actually taken 2 turns there. So my Poison Fang ends up being on alignment. So my opponent gets an entire free Dragon Tail, which is quite unfortunate. They fire off the Dragon Claw. I do tank that, no problem, and I'm going to continue to farm up here. They're going to fire off another Dragon Claw. That's fine by me. I should be able to farm up very close to the back-to-back Poison Fangs and apply a lot of pressure onto my opponent. I fire off the first Poison Fang. They're going to get the shield. Kommo-o going for the farm down, but Nidoqueen is not done yet. Able to reach a second Poison Fang and grab my opponent's second shield. I'm going to aggressively pivot into the Swampert here because I'm hoping that once Kommo-o is out of the way, Swampert will have play versus whatever they have in the back, and they have an Alolan Ninetales. Unfortunately, 2 Hydro Cannons are not going to be enough to KO here. I will be able to reach the second, but Ninetales doesn't have to shield, and they're going to leave with a charge move. My hope now is that if I bring in my incredibly low health Nidoqueen, my opponent is going to blind throw. So I send in the Nidoqueen, and my opponent throws. That's incredible. They could have just charmed down, but now they waste their energy, and Seviper can get the farm down. Seviper with an energy lead and shield advantage. What does my opponent have in the back? They have Talonflame, and they are about to get Sevipered. I'm firing off the first Poison Fang. Poison Fang is able to land. My opponent is going to switch into Kommo-o to reset the debuff, but that will not save them. I farm down Kommo-o, and I already have more moves waiting for this Talonflame. Opponent sees the writing on the wall and concedes the match. All in all, XL Seviper is definitely more of a meme pick than meta, but I'm very happy with the fact that I was able to put it to good use and go on a pretty nice win streak with it in the Ultra League Premier Cup. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. If you're enjoying the content, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't. And a special thank you, as always, to our members here on YouTube. The support you guys provide is absolutely incredible. So thank you guys oh so very much. And until next time, I've been HomeSliceHenry.